Tigers and the Sea Eagles on Fox Sports.
A big Monday night football encounter. The Tigers, having won 3 games straight, looking to track down those teams inside the top 8. Their fullback is Shannon Gallant. The halves are Benji Marshall and Tim Moulton, but they're boosted in the forward ranks with the return from injury of both Keith Galloway and Chris Heinington. Their coach is Tim Sheens. There's just the one change for the Manly Sea Eagles, the defending premiers. They bring into their side Chris Bailey off the bench. Glenn Hall goes back to that bench, and their coach is Desi Hasler. Benji Marshall with the kickoff, not a deep one. It'll go down to be taken at the 10 by Matt Orford, who almost coughed it up on the first catch. He just reeled it back in at game to Perry. And he was taken inside his own 20. Watmo now taking it down the short side, working on that left edge with Madai, who takes a chance to run from dummy half off the back of Watmo's first hitter. Here he is again, getting another catch. And a chance to offload as it came back to Matt Orford. No touch there. Play on is the call. Picked up very nicely by Jamie Lyon, but he was wrapped up equally quickly there by Chris Lawrence. Now Glenn Stewart out of dummy half to take it across the 40-metre line. They'll play it here on the last and kick from around about the halfway through Matt Ballon. His kick will go down in behind Shannon Gallant, who's been something of a revelation at fullback. Getting a chance with Moulton, of course, moving up into the number 7 jumper. He slipped over right there. There is a little bit of dew on the ground here tonight, but he recovered in time.
That part of the game has been impressive for Manly. Matt Ballon's kicking game. We've spoken about the pressure Jamie Lyon takes off Matt Orford in respects to kicking the football. Matt Ballon's done a great job over the last couple of months.
Here's Marshall. Pass, not a great one for Bryce Gibbs to try and reel in. He did well, the big front rower, to take it in that left hand and make a clean catch of it. Marshall from well inside his own 40, looking for a 40-20. It bounced onwards, and it will be a 40-20 for the Tigers to get this one going.
An excellent start from the West Tigers. Benji Marshall kicking early in the tackle count, up 40-20. And really, Tony Williams was just jogging back. He showed no urgency to get back. He was probably never going to get there, but you'd need to show a bit more urgency to get back there. But a wonderful kick from Benji Marshall. And this is the start that the Tigers were looking for. I don't think you'll see the last of that tactic, kicking behind Tony Williams.
Neither kicking early in the tackle count as well, with no pressure there on Marshall. Oh, a mix-up at the back of the scrum. Moulton obviously thought there was a little set play on from the back of the scrum. The lock forward wasn't aware of it, and Moulton had to recover to get to the ball in time. They take it forward through Gibbs. Stopped there by Perry and also Matt Ballon. Farah at dummy half, going himself, taking them on. Trying to spin his way across, stopped on his own line, or on the Manly line rather, by Perry and also Chris Bailey. Now they'll try and go through Corey Payne, and he has a little set to there with Anthony Watmo, who was never onside according to the referee.
Well, we'll see what they do here. The 2 points. Robbie Farah almost caught them short. There's Anthony Watmo offside. You don't want to overread Robbie Farah.
Benji Marshall gets the flags in the air, and it is the Tigers who will play from in front tonight. They lead Manly 2 points to 0. It was the chance to go for 6. We'll wait and see what they can do off this next set of 6 from their own end, but if the 2 are there, and it was an absolute gift from right in front, I guess if they can muscle up, and it is a low-scoring game, potentially, the 2 points could be handed.
Just stay on side now.
Jason King waiting for the restart from Matt Orford. Not a bad one, down to the goal line almost for Toddy Payton, who's made a habit of taking the catch on the full from kickoffs in recent times. He brings it back to about 15 out from his own line. Galea it is. Will play it just outside the 20 for Farah. The spread is on for the Tigers inside their own 20 from Marshall, away to Chris Lawrence. But there were plenty of numbers on this right-hand side of the field for the Sea Eagles. And they advance it to only the 30-metre line, although they do get a penalty. Holding down too long is the call against Ben Farah, and the Tigers will come on the attack once again.
Well, there's plenty of energy about the West Tigers. They're prepared to shift the ball inside their own half. The Manly side, they play a compressed defensive line. There's some space on the outside if you go early in the tackle count. And on the back of that, now Manly have given away a penalty.
Here's Farrah giving it off to Bryce Gibbs as they take it up towards the halfway line. 5 minutes gone. It's the Tigers with a 2-zip lead as Corey Payne, the man who earned them the penalty for the goal by Marshall, will play it here for Farrah. And they go to the right-hand side. Moulton giving it off to Blake Ashford, who was able to get away from Matt Orford. He's big and rangy, Ashford. He will match up well size-wise against Orford. You can find him on that left-hand side of Manly's defensive line. Now Payne knocked back to the ground again. Might have thought he was getting another penalty as Farrah comes out of dummy half. A deflection, a grab by Tony Williams. He'll have it for Manly as he tries to motor away. We're going to offload away to Watmo. He'll try and wind up, can't do so. So he flops it back to Jason King. And eventually the Tigers make the tackle.
Well, we spoke about the tactics of the West Tigers. Tony Williams will be getting plenty of those sort of kicks in and behind. Didn't get the direction right. But Tony Williams will be asked to do plenty of work in that area tonight, retrieving kicks, taking high shots.
Chris Bailey back in Tigers territory as it goes from Orford. Away to Perry. Back on the angle, stopped there by Corey Payne and also Todd Payton. Orford again. We'll put a kick up, some pressure here on Shannon Gallant, who gives away plenty of height. He flew to the air and then Matai got to him before he was back on the green stuff.
Well, that's 3 penalties in 7 minutes.
Still in the air.
Against Manly. He's still in the air, Shannon Gallant. And Steve Matai just letting him know that he's around. Orford putting the ball in the air. They're all onside. And he goes up for the football. And he's... Well...
Gee whiz.
I think that could be harsh.
Well, he had
a foot on the ground.
He definitely had a foot on the ground. Then it was a push. That's all it was.
It helps the Tigers out at their own end. And they'll play it back. Midfield 40 out from their own line through Gibbs. Payne takes it up to the 50. Stopped there by Bailey. Again playing a back row role here tonight. Now Marshall, ball back on the inside for Rellis, who has been switched by Tim Sheens from the right-hand side of the field to the left in recent times, and has been hard to stop. Farrah going from dummy half. Grabbed there by Perry. And also Ben Farrah. He'll play it just inside the 30. From the sideline, they go back to Marshall. He gives it off to Ellis. They'll play it here on the last, just outside the Manly 20. Marshall was on the open side, cuts back to the short side, didn't put a very good kick in. That is the short suit, isn't it, in Benji Marshall's game. If it's a failing, a shortcoming he needs to work on, it is his kicking game in that situation.
Well, at the end of the tackle count, you need to have a positive end of this set. And that was a poor kick there from Benji. And the thing I like about the West Tigers is they're prepared to play down short sides more than most other teams in the competition. Farrah gets out of dummy half, playing down the short side late in the tackle count. Usually when you play against opposition sides, they tend to go to the middle a lot. But against the Tigers, if it's a 2-metre blind side, they'll have a shot at you.
They love the blind side. Robbie Farrah, an absolute specialist at it. Mattai's playing the ball, gives them a chance to kick from around about the 40-metre line. Good catch in the end by Bo Ryan, who gave it off, and they'll play it 40 out from their own line. It was a good catch on a difficult ball that was skewing towards the sideline. Matai over the top. A little bit of help from Orford there, rattling Blake Ashford. Now a poor pass. Payton had to stop, was able to offload it though. The land is up there, chiming in, looking for a little pass exactly like that one. He'll play it here, and there'll be a penalty against Jamie Lyon, and really, it was an obvious one.
Well, that's the 4th penalty.
We might be about to have the official warning.
Here comes the skipper.
Yeah.
Let's slow things down.
Mate, 4 quick penalties. A lot of different things. Okay, that was just working his legs around after I'd called move. Okay, you got to release him straight away. Had a couple of dusty ones early on I played on, but that one was well after I called move, okay? But let's try and fix it up, okay? Thanks, Matt.
Sometimes has an uneasy working relationship with the referees, Matt Orford, but Jamie Lyon here just holds onto the legs and spun him around facing his own goal line. The referee's always going to penalise that.
Yeah, not much option. And those 4 penalties see Manly enjoy, the West Tigers enjoy a 7-set to 3-set advantage over the Eagles so far.
They need to take their chances if they're to beat the Sea Eagles tonight, and they've had a couple now. Here they come once again. Gibbs it is, who will work it forward, stopped by King and also Perry. He'll play it about 15 away. Farrell goes back on the inside for Corey Payne, who saw a gap, and he almost went straight through it. It was Jason King with some help from Ballon, who eventually stopped him. Not a great pass from Farrell. Picked up by Moulton. There was nothing doing as a result. Manly getting them off their line quickly there. Off the back of the bad ball from Robbie Farrell. Here he is again, looking for somebody, rubbering, chasing through as Lawrence. A Manly defender slipped over. It was Ben Farrer. It made it tough, and in the end, the now beardless Wolfman had to shovel it dead.
Well, they were coming through there, the West Tigers players, and the Wolfman, he knocks it over the dead ball line, but Robbie Farrell once again out of dummy half, finding the space along the carpet, earning his team an extra set of 6. But Manly, mentally they're very tough side to crack when they're in this mood defending their goal line. They may concede yards, but when they're defending their goal line, they're as good as any team in the competition.
Here comes Bryce Gibbs bringing it back from the goal line dropout. Spoke about completion rates before the game. The Tigers 8 from 8 to begin this one with 11 gone. Toddy Payton will play it to Farrer. So they go to Moulton on that right-hand side of the field. A play for Farrer, charging hard was Danny Galea, but boy, he was stopped at a good tackle by Matt Orford. Putting his body on the line there, the captain making a great tackle. Farrer for Moulton. Here's Marshall. Ellis, close hand off his hip. He stopped about 10 metres out from the Sea Eagles line. 4 players gone. That will be their first mistake, but it's a costly one.
Well, it was excellent defence by Manly. Really, they were never threatened.
2 minutes.
They were working hard. They push up hard off their line, then they steady, and then they make a decision. And they get numbers in the tackle. They slow them down. They've conceded a few penalties early tonight by doing that. On this occasion, Gareth Ellis just losing the football.
Yeah, he was pleading to the referee there, but I think it was pretty obvious that it was just a sloppy carry from Gareth Ellis. Manly will welcome that after being under pressure for quite some time.
Or still, just get square, mate. Get square. Righto, mate. Put it in, please. Out.
Go the Sea Eagles for the short side. There was a little 2-on-1, which Marshall had to cover from the inside, and he was able to do that and put a pretty good tackle on as well. Matty Orford realised it was just the winger, Tuiaki, on this short side as the scrum was set. They tried their luck. Marshall was up at the task of making a good tackle. Jason King hopping as he plays the ball. Now Whitemo charging forward, taking them backwards with him towards the halfway line. Ballon, a fairly quick play the ball. Gave it to Perry, but they were able to recover there, and Galea it was who made the tackle. Now Orford, a kick. It doesn't get through the line. Played it by the Tigers. It was going to be 6 more. And Manly, boy, they get lucky there because Orford put another kick in, thinking it was still the last, and it was played at once again.
Yeah, off the hook there, Matty Orford. He wasn't looking at the referee and really had no time to. Picked it up, did a 360, couldn't see the referee signalling 6 to go.
Have Manly go on the attack for the first real occasion in the game. Madhai will play it here. 30 metres out, and they get a penalty as well. Benji Marshall trying to slow down the play of the ball.
What's the mindset of the Eagles? Early penalty to the West Tigers. They elected to go for the 2 points, but Manly elected to keep the pressure on. Jamie Lyon finds touch, and this is their first real opportunity inside this 20-metre zone. And here they come through Jason King.
Well, the ball came loose, and they will say it was lost by Jason King. And they rush in. You can tell they're up for this one defensively, the Tigers, by the reaction. Jason King says, didn't you see a hand in there, sir, stripping that ball away from me? Bryce Gibbs was there. Corey Payne came in. And there was a bit of a mix-up, and like Gareth Ellis before him, I think it just was lost by the man carrying the ball.
Well, I think the fact that he was just lifted slightly in the air put Jason King off. I don't think you can say it was a strip. Defensively, the Tigers have been great over the 3 weeks. Over those 3 wins, they've scored plenty of points, but their defence has been the big factor in the turnaround.
Try and work it away from inside their own 20. Play it here through Galea. They'll take it forward. Tuiaki coming in for a carry. Doesn't do as much of it as he used to, but boy, hasn't he been effective on this left edge for the Tigers in 2009. Payton now. About 35 out from his own line. From Farah to Marshall once again. Early in the tackle count, well inside the 40. This time, though, down the middle of the park. He'll kick it in behind Williams again. Williams will have a chance to wind up, but coming down quickly. Ashford took the ground out from in front of him and got there to stop him. Good tackle. Giving away plenty of kilos in that contest was Blake Ashford.
Well, that's the key. When you kick behind Tony Williams, get there and don't give him that opportunity to wind up. You're down there quickly, you take the yards off him, and you affect his go forward.
Well, he probably doesn't wind up quick enough. Instead of looking and shuffling along for those first 5 or 6 steps, I think Desi Hasler should be telling Tony Williams just to take off and make as much ground as possible. It makes the tackle much easier.
Well, he's slow to react when the kick is put behind.
Now a mistake by the Seagulls. Perry putting a ball down, a chance to counter-attack for the Tigers as Marshall gives it to Tuiaki, who will charge towards them. He'll play it here just outside the 20. Lawrence bouncing off the shoulder there. Perry coming in to complete the tackle with Stewart. He might have rattled his own front rower. They go wide. Farah at first receiver. They keep it going. Not a great ball. Knocked on by Ashford. It was behind him, but certainly the ball went towards the Manly line, and a real let-off there by the Tigers.
Well, both sides being guilty now of making mistakes, failing to maintain any sort of pressure. The Tigers, Blake Ashford, that pass going behind him. Moulton, just over the left shoulder. Should have been taken.
Todd Payton getting a breather. Tim Sheens. Tigers make their first change. The Seagulls likewise as Jason King works it forward. He stopped, driven backwards in a good tackle. Out there is John Scandalis coming off the bench to take the place of Todd Payton. Here's the ball from Orford, back on the inside from Watmo. Hasn't he done plenty of this in recent times? What a tackle by Shannon Gallant. He gets up to go again, and he linked up with Maddo on his outside. They might have scored. Here's Ballon going to Orford. They work it to the right-hand side. It stops there with Jamie Lyon, though. Grabbed by Ellis. He'll play it for Stewart. They go back towards the uprights. Bailey getting it off for Orford. A ball out the back. Quick hands from Ballon. Away to Robertson. Comes to Farah on the last. He kicks for the in goal. Not a bad one either. Gallant under pressure. Will watch it. And was very cool under pressure.
Gee, Brett Stewart's been penciled in for a return in round 25. Brett Stewart scores when Anthony Watmo makes that break. Nice little play from Orford. Dummied on the inside to Josh Perry. Picked up Watmo, who loves to cut back on the angle. Jumped out of the tackle of Gallant. But in the end, the kick from Farah has gone over the dead ball line. But that sort of bust, I think it's a try if Brett Stewart's on the field.
It is a try. To take your hat off to the West Tigers, their scramble defence in that set was excellent. They got back into position quickly, which allowed them then the opportunity to work out where the threat was about to happen, and they pushed forward and eventually Manly kicked the dead.
Has been a recurring theme for the Seagulls at times this season, hasn't it? Making long breaks, unable to finish them off. And as you said, if Brett Stewart was out there, a lot of tries this season. And Moulton giving it to Ashford, who puts a kick in behind Williams. Robertson is there to clean it up. Got away from one chase. Couldn't beat Corey Payne, though. He gets to his feet, though. Now he links up with David Williams. And there's trouble there for West, and he was able to get away from Robbie Farah. He plays it. Mazzon going at Moulton, popping a ball back on the inside. A bit of a Hail Mary, and luckily it was Williams who cleaned it up. He wasn't tackled. Ashford certainly thought he was. He gets up to go again and brings it back to the halfway line. big metres for Manly. And the early tackles in this set of 6. Chris Bailey still going. Tigers struggling to get them to the ground at the moment. Ballon for Orford. He goes in behind Stewart. They keep it alive. It comes away for Farah. He runs to the outside of Marshall and throws a ball intended for Williams, which landed in the coffee cart, I think, in the concourse.
Well, Manly are starting to warm to the task. Even though that was a poor pass to finish with, they're starting to gain yardage through the middle. They're breaking tackles and creating some space. The Tigers in this set, they need to consolidate here a little bit. They need to have a good set, get to their kick, and make Manly once again work it off their own line.
Good play there by Benji Marshall. Continued to chase Farah then. I think it was the fact that he hit him so hard. That's why the pass was ill-directed.
They're always going to target Benji Marshall coming here tonight with his defence in combination with those around him. And that's been the key, of course. Ellis on that same side of the field as Marshall now certainly has stiffened up the Tigers' left side defence. Scandalis playing it for Farah. He goes away to Danny Galea. So work it back into Manly territory once again. They've had plenty of chances at this end. Still the lead is just 2. Moulton. He goes to Marshall. Out the back, a poor pass this time. Tuiaki under pressure. Can't come up with it. Manly can though through Orford. He got it to Brent Kite. He runs towards Gallant. What a mismatch that is. Talk about David and Goliath. And eventually, Goliath is taken to ground. Ballon. Brings it off for Jason King, another monster. Running there at Corey Payne. Chance that was building for the Tigers suddenly has Manly back deep into West Territory. Watmo, nothing doing there, although he fended away from the first attempted tackle by Scandalis. Playing just inside the Tigers' 10. Ballon comes to Orford. He goes to Stewart, out the back for the halfback again. Here's Robertson on the angle towards the corner. Marshall, with some help from Lawrence, is able to stop him pretty solidly. Orford grubbering once again. Good hands initially, and then very clever work by Robbie Farah to knock it backwards. Then he almost coughed it up, and in the end paid a high, high price by being slammed to the turf.
Well, they need to be composed here, the Tigers. The surge is coming from Manly, and the Tigers have looked a little bit shaky. Farah, was he looking to offload then? After just getting the football back, they need a good set of 6 here, the Tigers.
They are making hard work of it. Here is Bryce Gibbs. Stopped there by Ballon and also Warford. I'll take it down to the last here is Corey Payne. Tries to work it up towards his own 40. A kick from Marshall again from inside the 40. And once more, they go over the head of Tony Williams, who has a chance to wind up here. Again, just coasts initially, and it gives him the chance to once more get up in his face, and they stop him inside his own 30.
Well, that was better initial contact. Robertson, half through a gap, but that's where they need to pick up their defence, the West Tigers. Their initial contact shocking. Watmo, along with all the others, as they get a penalty, continue to bust out of tackles. It will sap the Tigers' energy. And not only that, it'll draw the outside men in, who have to then make the tackle and open up the gaps on the outside. The initial contact's not good enough from the West Tigers.
Gibbs there knew he was never square at marker, but they were struggling in the middle of the park. I think he just took the odds to it, made the tackle and gave away the penalty. He was probably happy to do so as Kite will play it here about 5 out from the Tigers line. Man, we're looking for their first points of the night still. Deep into the first half. George Rose is out there and he will play it right in front of the uprights. Ballon showing it, and again back to the inside for Stewart using his feet. Got a ball away for Bailey, who will be held up.
Held up, tackle 3.
He's always hard to stop from close range, Chris Bailey.
Tackle 3.
They did well, and Shannon Gallant once again was underneath him to save a try.
He's got good footwork. Glenn Stewart, little shimmy back on the inside, just create a little bit of space there for Chris Bailey. Needed 3 Tigers to hold him up. Still a few tackles up their sleeve.
Well, it's Bryce Gibbs who was left on the turf there. An opportune moment
Let's go, Bryce, in position.
to have an injury. Let's leave it at that, I guess, with the Tigers under enormous pressure on their own line. 3 tackles gone. Orford, a play to the left-hand side. Williams running at Bo Ryan, just bumped him out of the way. They got some numbers there, and Molson and Ashford are able to stop him about 5 metres out. Matai for Orford. He comes across to Bailey. Now Stewart. Lawrence jammed in quickly and made a good stop. They'll keep it going to the right-hand side. Lyon, rubbering, taken on the full by Marshall with nobody in front of him.
George Rose.
Big Georgie is chasing. He won't get there. And Benji will run 95 metres. And the Tigers get the first 4-pointer of the game.
Well, their scramble defence once again, the Tigers. It looked as though the first points, or the first try, was going to go to the Manly team. But somehow they hung on. And then last tackle option, Jamie Lyon kicked it straight into the arms of Benji. And he raced 95 metres to score the first 4-pointer of the night. Big Georgie Rose was travelling down the field with him. He wasn't going to get there.
And here he goes.
Walking back beautifully. Benji Marshall has 8 points, so do the Tigers. 8-0 it is. We'll wait and see, of course, if they can go on with a long way to go. We're not even at the half-hour mark of this one yet, but we said before the game it had to be about completion rates. It had to be about substance defensively. They've aimed up in both categories.
They had to come to here tonight with a tough mentality in defence. Now, we've questioned their first-up contact, but their scramble defence has been excellent. So while the Eagles have been making yards, it's been the ability of the West Tigers to retreat quickly, get themselves into position and formation, and then to starve off any other threat that's about to be applied from Manly. That's been the most impressive thing about their defence tonight. You know, the last 5 weeks, their 2 losses have came against the Dragons and the Melbourne Storm, and they've been narrow. They've been narrow losses, but they've been defending well. They haven't conceded a huge amount of points. And the Tigers, when they're at their best, yes, they are good with the football, but they defend so well.
Here they are playing it through Scandalis as Farah looks to try and come into his own late in the first half. He was almost away, but popped the ball straight to Anthony Watmo. And it gives the Seagulls a chance to hit straight back. And just outside the Tigers 20, here is Watmo getting plenty of touches. What form he's been in through the middle part of this 2009 season, though this time, well, he lost it. They say it was stripped out.
His involvement has been enormous, hasn't it, Anthony Watmo? Plenty of runs out of dummy half. 9 hit-ups already in the game. Plenty of tackle busts. Ooh.
If there was a tough one against Steve Matai for tackling Shannon Gallant supposedly in the air earlier in the game, that was a tough one against the Tigers. Ballon gives it to Lyon. Robertson away to Farah, who's made a habit in maroon and white of finding the try line. He stopped on this occasion though. Williams comes back through Stewart. They give it off the line once again. Collared by John Scandalis and ragdolled to the ground. Ballon goes to Orford, running at them on the edges. Good tackle, though, made by Ashford. Matai stayed outside. They go back to the left-hand side. Here's Brent Knight backing away from him. He had the truck in reverse. Now Bailey, he's going forward. He's only 5 metres out when they stop him. Ballon, back to Orford. Grubbering once again. Off the foot there of Tim Moulton, who soccers it forward. He's racing with Watmo. He's shepherded him off the ball. Comes up with it. Williams is there. He gives it away. Ashford fending, trying to stay alive, and the Tigers have it just outside the 20. What a play by Tim Moulton, racing down the middle of the field through Ellis. Good tackle by David Williams, a long way from his right wing. Gallant for Lawrence. Marshall on his outside. Kite makes the stop. 5 metres out. A huge set of 6 defensively for the Seagulls on their own line. Farah, Grubbers, it's a good one. The bounce is even better. It was room service for Bo Ryan. The Tigers are in, and they make it an even dozen the lead.
Great awareness there by Robbie Farah. He's earned his side a repeat set with a short kick down this end earlier in the match. That time it was try time. Matt Orford's running towards the sideline, which is causing all sorts of problems for the Manly side. Tim Moulton able to get his foot onto the ball. Watmo chases with him. You wouldn't expect it to be any other Manly player. Tony Williams there. He flicks it out to Ashford. Ashford ducks across into the centre of field. There's the fullback, Robertson, that makes the tackle. And then they go to the centre. Long pass. Robbie Farah sums things up. Tony Williams is brought in. Farah takes it to the line. That forces Williams up. And any number of Tigers could have scored that one. There was a couple of Tigers out there waiting for the ball to bounce up into their hands.
The Tigers have pounced.
Have they ever? 14 points to 0. We've seen some upsets in round 21. This would be up there with them tonight if the Tigers were able to get the better of the Seagulls. It was clinical from Robbie Farah. The bounce couldn't have been any better for Beau Ryan, who made it easier for Benji Marshall by coming as close to the uprights as he possibly could. 14 points to 0. Familiar scoreline. It's where the Seagulls were just last week against the Newcastle Knights at Blue Tongue Stadium on the Central Coast. We know what happened from there. We'll wait and see what happens here tonight. Here's Ryan. Getting in a dummy half, grabbed there by Matai. Getting up to go again, and once more you can hear the call of play on from Shane Hayne. And now with a roll on, they come down the field through Heinington.
Well, it's a big test
for the first time in 6 weeks, Laurie.
To see where Manly are at. You look at the Bulldogs, they were behind on the weekend. You look at the Dragons, they were behind on the weekend. And another team everyone's expecting to challenge for the title this year is Manly. And now they're behind by 14. They've sat back and watched the other two teams do it. Let's see if they can respond. Good sides can respond to the challenge when they're placed under pressure. Let's see where Manly are at.
There's Matai out of dummy half. Just under 7 minutes remaining as Matai has it to Ballon. They work it down the left-hand side of the field through Shane Rodney. A bit of consternation up there in the Manly coach's box, as you would imagine. With the scoreline, as Stewart looks to rectify that. Here's a ball back on the inside for Robertson to Lyon, and what a catch by the galloping ant, Shannon Gallant, who's turning them inside out. Oh! Until he ran into the shoulder, the very significant shoulder of Anthony Watmo. Now Ashford, he gets away from them. They're off and running once again. The Tigers, aren't they hot to trot on Monday Night Football? Farah, he goes to Moulton. Here's Payton who's back out there. Good ball for Marshall with some room to move. Lovely play. Lawrence for the take. They take Taniela Chiriaki. He makes it 18 points to 0. It's a landslide, a black and white landslide.
Well, when they're in this sort of mood, there's not many better teams to watch. Manly split the Tigers. Good footwork again by Glenn Stewart. Great offload to Robertson. He was looking for the outside man, but there was a cover defender, Benji Marshall, in the road. The ball could only be towed through, and then Gallant picks it up, sidestepping his way through the Manly side before Watmo cleans him up, and then the Tigers outside. Benji just does a great job there to hold the ball up. He sucks Matt Orford in, and Tuiaki was never going to be stopped when he had an open run to the line.
They've got plenty of belief. It would have been even better at 20 points to 0, but 18-0 it is, with 4 minutes left in this first half. And what a turnaround has come about in this game. It was 2-0 up until Benji Marshall's try in the 26th minute. The Tigers have put on 3 in 9 minutes to make it 3 converted tries the difference. And he moves back into outright second position. And the NRL try scorers list Taniela Tuiaki. Well, there was no stopping him from that range when he gets a chance like that. There isn't a fullback in the league who can stop him.
And the slips catch from Shannon Gallant was unbelievable. Great reaction. Galloway on the field.
It was unbelievable. And the toe forward by Lyon beaten Shannon Gallant. Because though it had the sort of weight that would have been very much in play for Lyon and the Sea Eagles. Here is Toddy Payton, who played his role so nicely. And the play to the left-hand side, which finished in Turiaki, of course, getting across the line for their third try of the night. The kick from inside the 40, had Williams under pressure. Now it's Robertson who has to try and bring it back. And the fullback did so, but boy, Williams saved the day, otherwise it was going to be another 40-20.
Well, after the first one, he got a wriggle on in that one. I was watching Tony Williams when he turned to chase that one. He put it down there, and he was giving it his most. That's a great piece of play too. Pretty fortunate the fullback was only 5 metres away to clean it up, but he got back there that time.
A spread inside their own 20 from Manly. Marshall up against Jamie Lyon. Is able to wrap him up. Good defence once again by the number 6. Here is Farrett going in behind the decoy run of Matt Ballin. Tigers fans were screaming for a check or an instruction, as we now call it, of course. Here's Watmo. Orford to kick from outside the 40. Coming across. Gallant will have nothing to do with that. And with 2 minutes remaining, the Tigers should be able to work it from this next set of 6 and take at least an 18-point lead to the break.
They've played outstandingly well in the first 38 minutes, the West Tigers. And now they get an opportunity to walk to the scrum. Matty Orford found the sideline. His team's in need of a break. They can't wait for half-time. I'm sure the Tigers wish there was still a lot more minutes in this first half. All the momentum was with them. They came here tonight with a strong self-belief. They're playing for their season, and it's showing. We speak about them defensively over their last 5 weeks, and again, looking as though they're going to keep Manly to 0 in the first 40 minutes.
It was exactly what they did against the Raiders last week. In their last 6 weeks, the Tigers have only considered more than 20 on one occasion, and that was only 21 against the Dragons. They can maintain their defensive record of recent times. They might almost have enough points here to win this one already. Gallant goes to Ellis. Byington working it forward. He'll play it just outside the 40. Play number 5 coming up. Benji Marshall getting the dummy half. They'll just take it through the forwards. Try and, at worst, make Manly work it away from their own goal line. With barely 30 seconds remaining in this first half. Although Robbie Farah might be thinking the one he was. He scooted off the side of the boot with some pressure from Manly. Oh, now David Williams puts a kick in and gave it straight back to Benji Marshall. Now he grubbers for one of his wingers. Oh, and Michael Robertson comes across to take it out of play and end the first half.
I'm not going to say a word, because I'm sure that Des will have a yarn to him at half-time about that play.
Is he related to Paul Carrick?
Seen a couple of those brain explosions over the weekend.
Wow. What a way to end the first half. It could have been disastrous for the Sea Eagles. And I don't know whether the beard off is a good thing, having just seen that. The second half, and it's Toddy Payton who makes the catch and brings it back out towards the 20 for the Tigers. Halfway, making it 4 wins on the trot. Perhaps just 2 points from the top 8 with 5 rounds to play in 2009. Farrell stopped there in the tackle by George Rose. Gets stuck to play eventually for Marshall. A ball back on the inside for Gallant. Good tackle once again by George Rose, otherwise Gallant was away. Farah's kick down the short side over the head of David Williams is a very good one. They started the game with a 40-20 from Benji Marshall, and while this isn't a 40-20, it's an equally good kick as far as Robbie Farah is concerned, finding the line and making Manly work it away from a set play situation.
Well, off the back of a great set. Keith Galloway involved in that. Good to see him on the field. He had a little stint in the first half. Been out of football since round 10. If the Tigers are to go on and win this, he'll be vital in their charge towards the semi-finals.
This is a bonus for the Tigers, of course, getting the likes of Galloway and Hinton back in action tonight. They've struggled for injuries in the last 3 seasons, in the run to the finals when they faltered, of course, in the last month or so. They might be poised to change that this season. There's a lot of football to go. Football to go here tonight. Here's Watman being taken backwards by Ellis and also Galloway. Plays it inside his own 20. Now Orford. Well, was that a little trip there by Gareth Ellis?
You put your leg out first, but then you grabbed him secondly. No, it doesn't matter.
Shane Hayne is saying the first contact is with the leg, and he's right too.
Absolutely. He smothered it up a little bit by grabbing Matt Orford pretty quickly. And in real time, that would have been hard to tell exactly the contact in which was made first. Shane Hayne got it exactly right, but
it was a good call by the referee. Oh, now a mistake off the restart with Steve Maddai looking to put a play on. Tony Williams sold a pup right there, had to try and pick up a terrible ball and knocked it on.
Well, I don't know if the pass was intended for Anthony Watmoe, but if you had to realise that the winger had come off to make the tackle on Anthony Watmoe, Tony Williams was free. No one in front of him.
Well, you're thinking, Brandy, he should have known that that could have been an option, given that they were playing down that short side.
It wasn't a great pass, but obviously the ball was intended for Anthony Watmoe, but that's what it created. Anthony Watmoe had them worried that much that Bo Ryan came in off his wing, and there's Williams unmarked. Couldn't handle the bouncing ball.
The Tigers with a chance to begin this second half with perhaps more points. Here's Galloway. They played 35 away from the Manly line. Farah. He goes to Moulton. Another play out the back for Marshall. Second man once again for Lawrence, who has Tuaki on his outside, but he's wrapped up there by Farah and also Jamie Lyon at the Sea Eagles 30-metre line. Tuaki, picked up. Jamie Lyon stopped him and then took him back to earth pretty comfortably in the end. He had him in an awkward position. Marshall. To Moulton, who gets away from them. Galea backing up down the inside. That was the last. They took the option to run it, and it almost worked.
And again, I think that's a better play from the Tigers, just show and go. When they throw long ball, try to get on the outside of Manly, it just suits Manly's defence. You've got to play back through the middle or just show and dig into the line against a sliding defence. Someone needs to straighten it up at the very least.
Tim Moulton has certainly shown, since taking over the number 7 role in the front line, he has the speed and the step to be able to crack opposition defensive lines. Here's a good kick. They'll limit Shannon Gallant to only 5 metres back into the field of play. They've been waiting any more beautifully, that particular kick, and the Tigers now themselves under pressure to take it away from inside their own 20. Their handling is first class in the first half. Here's a spread from inside their own 10. Marshall was thinking about it and was still looking for Moulton until Orford came in to stop him with some help there from Anthony Watmoe. They go back to the right-hand side. Oh, heavy contact. Orford taking a shot there. He jammed in on Danny Galea. He is so tough, the Ox, isn't he? He made a good stop on the second row, but more a shot for his trouble. Look at the contact there.
For a little number 7, that's a big effort. It's a courageous effort. Going in, trying to shut down the ball and all, or trying to stop the offload, I should say, with a ball and all tackle, and cop one for his trouble.
Has been the trademark of his career, hasn't it? His toughness, his courage, given how much weight and how much height he does give away out there in what is sometimes the land of the giants in the NRL. Mattai's ball back on the inside there for Jamie Lyon. And they have it Manly back almost at the halfway line. Ballon picks it up and gives it off for Rodney. He was tackled by Todd Payton. good effort by the big man, getting up and putting some pressure on the receiver. Georgie Rose almost got the arms free. Heinington only just grabbed him. In fact, Ballon only just making it back to dummy half to pick up the ball. The kick from Matt Orford, well, that left a bit to be desired.
Well, there's a good opportunity there to run it on last tackle. They had the numbers on the left side of the field. Maddie was into some space. There's a 2-on-1 with Bo Ryan, with he and Tony Williams. They had to let the ball go.
When Matt Orford puts that kick in, do you think sometimes he forgets that Brett Stewart still isn't out there? It's a sort of play they use off the outside of the foot, the floater in behind the line. For Stewart, we've seen it work a number of times, of course, in past seasons. Maybe sometimes he just has that little lapse, and that's right, Snake isn't here. Ellis bringing it back to the halfway line.
He'll be there in a couple of weeks, Was. He'll be there in a couple of weeks.
Manly are certainly hoping so. Here's Farah. A kick perhaps off the outside of the boot. Forget the perhaps part. After a good one to begin this second half, that was a shocker.
Well, they need to get down the other end and apply pressure, Manly, and build their game again, but they just need good go forward, then a cross play. I think sometimes they're tending to go too much with a cross play through the middle. You still need good go forward, quick play the ball, then look as though you're going to go to the outside, and then turn it back. The Tigers are really enthusiastic in their defence, and they're really running hard across the park.
Speaking of running hard, nobody does it better than Anthony Watmo. He popped the ball out the back and turned it over. Danny Galea it was who came up with it. Now Marshall coming back at them, putting the pressure on them straight away.
Well, that was the run they needed from Anthony Watmo, but he just didn't need to throw the ball. You need to stay composed. You need to build some pressure. They've still got plenty of time. Manly, they're capable of scoring these 18 points, but they won't if they start to panic.
They've already used up 8 minutes of the second half. As Farah comes to Marshall, getting plenty of touches. That first receiver, Payton, played about 37 out from the Manly line. Last play here. They've already run it once. This time they will go to the air through the boot of Marshall. Some pressure on Robertson. Moulton coming through, didn't quite get there in time. And Robertson made a pretty good catch, but he stopped 5 out from his own line. Williams runs from dummy half. Now they stop him and take him back towards his own line. They have muscled up and kept the defending premiers scoreless after almost 50 minutes of action tonight.
In that period of the game in the first half where they had trouble shutting Manly down, they were bouncing off tackles, getting offloads away. Second phase play was coming into action. That hasn't been the case in the second half. Shutting down the ball and the man.
Anthony Watmo again with carry number 13 for the night. I'll guarantee at least half of those have come from dummy half. He's a specialist at it now. Tuiaki on a dummy half run himself, bouncing back into the tackle there of Ben Farah, and also Len Stewart. Marshall gives it off for Lawrence. Farah getting up in his face. In fact, it was Jamie Lyon making the tackle at the 40-metre line. I'll almost take it back to the Manly territory here through Heinington. There is Brett Stewart. Maybe as little as 3 weeks away from rejoining the action. It'll be a bonus if it was only 3 weeks for Manly. As Farah's kick looks for the in-goal area. It will find it and will sit down as well. Now, oh, Williams looked up. He hasn't had a great night, has he? He was off for the prize before he picked it up after finishing the first half with an absolute brain explosion kick from his own in-goal area.
Yeah, no, poor finish to the first half and not a great start to the second. I think he saw Michael Robertson, who was heading back in field. I think he was thinking pass pretty quickly too. Robbie Farah was the only chaser on the inside, and the pass was on, but David Williams just couldn't pick the ball up cleanly. Puts his team under pressure.
Is it a Samson thing? Shave off the beard and the power goes.
You did a couple of those things with the beard on too.
Yes. Starts Pat Bellamy. Here's Todd Payton. He'll play it about 25 metres out from the Manly line. Farah goes to Marshall. Running at the line, taking it a long way as well. Looking for Ellis. who is still looking for his first try in the NRL. He'll crack them soon. Here's Farah. Marshall it is. Moulton on his outside. Running the line was Galea. They put the kick in instead. It sets up. Oh, patience shown by Robertson. So let it bounce that one more time, and it was patience that paid off.
It looked as though it was going to bounce back into his chest, and he was the man that was going to knock it dead. Just had a little bit too much on it there from Timmy Moulton. The double bow. They need this Manly a penalty to get themselves in decent field position. Orford finds touch. They're 45 metres out from the Tigers' line. What can they produce? Kite carrying the ball forward. Just lying on the tackle player too long.
Here's Watno again. Bouncing up to his feet once more as well. Giving it off for Maddie. Turning it on the inside for Williams, who's into a bit of space. He turned Galloway inside out. Then fends away from Robbie Farah. Oh, he's still going! He's an absolute monster! What? He skittled them. They didn't know which way he was going. And then when they finally caught up to him, nobody could make a tackle.
I thought he'd made the wrong decision a couple of times in that run. He ended up running. There was a little bit of space on the right-hand side. Watmo, the ability to bounce out of a tackle, get up onto his feet, offload to Maddie. He had two Tigers playing chase him on the outside. And then here's Williams, decides to run straight at the man. Robbie Farah pushes him backwards. You just forget how strong he is.
And Orford converts. And by doing that, they opened up the space back on the inside for Tony Williams. Then he found himself in some space. He was wound up, and it was always going to be difficult for the Tigers to stop him. He's a human wrecking ball, and in that situation, not many people are going to stop him. And Manly, is this their revival? You would think this set of six will have plenty of enthusiasm about it.
Well, they do it so often. We'll see what they offer right here. Rodney it is, bringing it back. A good start. Oh, no, it isn't. He lost the ball. Grabbed by big Keith Galloway. Back for the first time in 10 long weeks. And Shane Rodney coughs it up. And the Tigers will come straight back at them.
Yeah, the error they didn't need. Shane Rodney, great tackle by Galloway. Just bear hugged him from behind. Had both his arms pinned towards his side. Therefore, the ball was always a chance to come loose. And Rodney back from injury himself.
From 20 metres out, the Tigers win the scrum, and Moulton gives it off for Blake Ashford. Possession earned for them by Keith Galloway, who was, I'm sure, given the way things panned out, going to play for New South Wales in the Origin Series at some stage. But he had not suffered that dislocated kneecap all those weeks ago. Now Heinington bounce away from the defenders, spinning down the middle of the field. He'll play it just outside the Manly 10 for Farah. He goes to Marshall. The ball back on the inside for Ellis. They were coming out of the line. Glenn Stewart was there, took a piece off him, and he was stopped by Perry and Orford. Gibbs going back to the short side. It bounced off a Tiger, straight back into the hands of Shane Rodney.
I was building nicely there for the West Tigers. Payton thought he saw numbers down a short side, just wrapped down the short side, and it bounced off his chest. For the Tigers, they look dangerous when Benji plays to the line as Watmo comes up with another error, and Manly, after scoring points, their next two sets, they've turned it over.
Well, when you run the ball as much as Anthony Watmo has tonight, I guess you're closer to making a mistake. It was a good run by Payton, good tackle by Glenn Stewart, and here's the drop ball by Watmo.
They need to be careful here, Manly. This will be sapping their energy levels, and the Tigers very good from set pieces from scrums. They score more points off scrums than any other team.
Jason King up. Here's 10.
Well, it's Heinington to play it. Just inside the Sea Eagles 20. Farah taking it under some pressure there from Anthony Watmo, who came screaming in off the line. It can be a strength, it can also be a weakness. They go back towards his side of the field straight away through Heinington, and he'll play it about 8 away from the Sea Eagles line. 3 tackles up their sleeve. Farah was looking to the short side. He goes there for Ashford. He got in behind Matt. Oh, he gave a pass to Ryan, and had he caught it, he scores in the corner.
Had he given up on him, Bo Ryan? Ashford bursting through Steve Maddai, then struggling with another couple of Manly players, and just popped the pass. I don't know if Bo Ryan had given up on him. Oh no, he just dropped it. He certainly was looking that way.
He's been great tonight, Blake Ashford. Ashford up against Steve Maddai. He's made a couple of telling runs. He's a big boy. He's a big lad. Certainly hasn't been overawed by playing against Steve Maddai, who's one of the more difficult men to contain in the NRL.
Here's Stewart getting it to Lyon, who almost got away there from Chris Lawrence. Little spread to the right-hand side, working for Manly from inside their own 20. They go again through Farah. Ben, that is. 8 on his own side of halfway for Bell. They keep it alive in the hands of Jason King. It comes to Josh Perry. He's brought it back to the halfway line on play number 4. Orford comes wide to Maddai, again looking for Williams, and again he had the chance to pop it back on the inside, as he did, of course, for the try not that long ago. Williams gives it to Orford under some pressure. Not a great kick as a result. And the Tigers won't play at it. Robertson caught it. Here's a chance from Stewart to Farah. He gives it to Williams for the corner. And we need to go upstairs to take a look.
After the last corner post grounding, touch and go, mate.
We've seen some unbelievable ones in 2009. Bryson Goodwin got one yesterday. David Williams gets up clutching a shoulder. If he's got this down, the Tigers have paid a very hefty price for not contesting this ball.
Yeah, no, a terrible kick from Matt Orford, but they just watched. They were willing to let Manly have first crack at it. Robertson did a great job. Clean catch and then a quick offload. Farah tries to draw the winger. Well, the fact that he had to reach behind him just a fraction. If he gets this down, it is a dead set miracle. No, he's out.
A lucky escape there from the Tigers, letting the ball go into the arms of the Manly players. Off a kick, no try.
Handover, boys.
That's a handover.
Taniela the Tank scores plenty of tries. He saved one right there with a desperate lunge. It was just enough to put David Williams on the chalk.
You wonder what the teams are thinking, or the players are thinking, when they just, the ball comes down in your 20-metre zone and you're allowing it to bounce. It's a huge risk. You have to play at the football. I'm a big believer you have to play. Midfield especially.
Especially when the kicking team can't tackle you in mid-air. But almost, if you leave the ground, you can make a good leap at it. It gives you a free catch at it. I know under pressure, obviously, but you get the chance, if they even touch you while you're in the air, to get a penalty. Here's Farah to Marshall back on the inside as they work it away from inside their own 40-metre line. Scandalis was set upon straight away. Last play here at first receiver is Marshall. He goes to Moulton from inside his own 40. He might have been thinking 40-20. He had the angle. Tony Williams was planted back there inside his own 20. He shaped the pass. He took them on once again. But Tim Moulton underneath him makes a good stop. Chris Bailey about to come back on for the Sea Eagles as Rodney works it away from inside their own 30. A big next 5 minutes for the Tigers. If they can keep Manly scoreless, they are very close to wrapping up this game.
It wouldn't surprise me they look to run the football on last tackle down Tony Williams' side of the field. Williams is now dropping way back downfield. Just wondering whether the Tigers may be setting it up for a run play.
Here's King playing it at the halfway line as they go through Ballon to Stewart. Quick hands, too quick for Ben Farah. He couldn't come up with it. Under some pressure there from the left edge of that Tigers defensive line. And again, they make a mistake. They've completed just 19 of 31, the Sea Eagles, to this point.
Yeah, their second half completion rate, not much better than 50%. That's not good enough when you're trailing 18-0 at half time. Chris Lawrence, we spoke at at length in that first half about the decisions he's made in defence, coming off his line, putting some pressure on Farah. There's Galloway getting a rest, and I'd say he's done his time, his first game back for 10 weeks.
Yeah, 6 from 14.
It's under 50%.
Yeah, when you're chasing points.
Robbie Farah from dummy half. They're working up the middle of the field through Bryce Gibbs. Just about an hour gone here on Bundy Rum Monday Night Football. The Tigers, their points coming in the first half, the back of 3 tries, 3 long-range tries at that. Farah goes back to Scandalis. He gives it off to Marshall. Now Ellis, a ball away to Lawrence and a bit of room to move. Coming across, Matt Orford making another important tackle for Manly. Marshall again links up with Farah this time. He cuts one out to give it to Ashford. A chance for the Tigers. He beats one. Still going is Ashford. Stopped only a metre out by Jamie Lyon. Last play. Ryan feeds it deep for Farah. He goes even wider still. Here's Marshall. He feigned to cut it out. A kick in behind Williams, who slipped and then recovered. It's a goal line dropout coming out though.
Gee, I tell you what, he's fortunate the ball bounced towards him, because you said he slipped was, and I don't think he was going to get there if that ball didn't bounce to him. Here's Ashford beating Maddai again. He's done this countless times tonight, and getting through another tackle, that of Tony Williams. They go the shift from one side of the field to the other. Long one from Farah to Benji Marshall, throws the dummy, then puts the kick in. He was down, Williams. The ball bounces into his hands and he's able to knock it dead. Another repeat set for the Tigers.
That's a great kick. That's a great kick when you're building pressure to put the nail into the coffin of a football team.
Gallant from dummy half, giving it to Bryce Gibbs. And a stint back on the bench, and he's out there now to play it. 30 out from the Manly line. Farah with a miscommunication there. I think Scandalis thought he was getting the pass. Well, coming in very late there, Matt Orford. Shot there, and now Huntington trying to work a penalty. Won't get one. Play on is the call. Farah goes to Moulton. Not much happening for him on the left-hand side, so he just gives it to one of the workhorses to take it forward to set them up. Farah. Here they are, with room to move. Moulton harassed there by Watmo, who made an important stop, and Moulton was able to get up to his feet, give it to Ashford once again. And here's Orford on both sides of the field making important tackles. He's everywhere. Farah thinking the one will take the one to make it a 13-point game. Didn't have a lot happening out to his left-hand side, so he said, boys, let's make them score 3 times.
Smart play from Robbie Farah. There was nothing happening. He just thought, no, I'll take the preferred option, which is the 1 point, extend it to 13. You mentioned the fact that they now have to score 3 times. And sometimes trying to get the 1 with not a lot of time on the clock, it's quite difficult. So why not take it when it's there?
He wanted the 1 point in the stroke of half-time. It almost worked out even better for the Tigers when David Williams decided off the top of his head to play a little bit of rugby union and almost cost them big time. Now Gibbs. Good run to bring it back towards the 30. Farah sends it back on the inside. Chance there for Corey Payne to offload, but he decided to hang on to it as they get through this sort of 6 from inside their own territory. Now Farah had the ball to Marshall, which I don't know that he was completely expecting. Good run though by Ellis. And eventually taken to ground there by Stewart and also Jamie Lyon. Bo Ryan coming in. The winger looking for a run. He's almost brought it back to the halfway line. Last tackle here. They do like to run it, but this time they will kick with the 13-point lead. The kick by Marshall over the head of David Williams. He had the option to catch it. Took the hands away from it, and it will mean Manly watch the clock tick down, and the scrum will be set 10 out from their own line.
Yeah, beautifully judged kick there by Benji over the head of David Williams. He looks a bit shaky, David Williams, at the moment. Good see him there. Just now, I won't play at that football. And Robbie Farah and Benji Marshall come together. He looks a different man without the beard.
Good shot. Good shot on Watmo there off the back of the scrum.
Now a kick early in the tackle count by Manly for that man without the beard. David Williams chasing, but getting back there to clean up with Shannon Gallant. A career reignited with the #1 jumper with a diminutive fullback, and he showed good speed once again there with Williams breathing down his neck to come up with possession.
And anticipation was. You know, he read that superbly.
Another good charge from the Englishman, Ellis.
He has been very good once again tonight. Here is Marshall again, kicking early in the tackle count in behind David Williams. Some pressure here on Robertson. If it sits down, oh, it was there. There was a chance for Marshall to play at the ball. He was looking to take Robertson with the ball, touch and goal.
Gee, that was smart play by Benji Marshall. There's David Williams. He was gone. He didn't even contest that football. He's still back on the 20. He's barely running, David Williams, and perfectly weighted. Robertson to have judged that he took the ball dead. Benji was off. Kicking back down Williams' wing.
Good run by Jason King. Tim Sheens on the bench. Won't be doing it easy by any stretch. Here's a lovely ball from Orford to Watmo once again. He runs towards Gallant. He runs away from Gallant. What a finish we have coming up here. And it's the old firm who've given it to us. Orford for Watmo. You just can't count them out.
Well, Anthony Watmo running off a lovely pass from Matty Orford. He was under pressure here, Orford. He got in between defenders, and Watmo pushing up into space, coming short onto the pass. And he out sprinted Shannon Gallant.
Well, as Orford puts the ball over the posts. There he's had a huge game, Anthony Watmo. 16 runs of the football. He has been in everything. There's been a couple of errors, but they will come when you're so heavily involved in a game.
Yeah, they took the quick 2, of course. It now makes it 19 points, 12, just 7 points between them. This is a massive couple of minutes coming up here for the Tigers.
Well, you would think Manly have a surge in energy here. After points, the last time they had points, they turned it over cheaply. Their next 3 sets, they turned it over. They really need something here, this Manly side. They're only 7 points out of the game. Championship qualities are showing now. If you want to defend your title, you show us what you got. You lay your cards on the table.
And they're playing some football once again from inside their own 20. Good hands to the right-hand side, but well read in the end by Chris Lawrence to cut down Glenn Stewart. They've warmed to the task. The longer this game has gone on, they've made some big meters through their big men down the middle of the park in the last 5 minutes. The likes of Jason King has been good since coming back on the field.
His run set up that play then for Orford. It gave Orford and Watmo a little bit of time and gave Orford a chance to sum up the defence and who to take out and where for Watmo to run. And that's a strong tackle. Ben Farah coming from the right. Matt Ballin actually.
There's Perry over the top of Bo Ryan. 12 minutes remaining. 7 is the gap. Scandalis set upon. Look at the intensity from Manly defensively. Jason King it was again. He loves to mix it up and get involved in the tackle on the ground, try and work them over. Look at the face there from, hand in the face at least, from Chris Bailey. Trying to rev themselves up. Marshall, his kick. This time, taken cleanly by David Williams. We won't do with Tony Williams and waste some precious seconds by faltering before he gets going. He puts the foot down straight away and brings it back to almost the 40-metre line for Manly. Out of dummy half. Stopped there by Gibbs, and now
Tackle
a
2.
whistle.
Jason, out the back, please.
It's Jason King, who has a nasty cut to the right eyebrow region.
Righto, Matt. Matt.
Like, can all afford to take him off the field.
No,
they need him to stay on. He's been their most effective go-forward player, Jason King.
It looks as though the cut will be significant enough for King to have to come from the field to get that taped up. That's exactly what they didn't want to happen. It uses up another interchange. and takes their most effective front rower off the field. Here's Bailey spinning in the tackle, offloading. Robertson is there, sneaking up, looking for exactly that. He'll play it about 35 out from the Tigers line. Play number 5 for Orford to go at them. Another ball, this time back on the inside for Watmo. He loses it, picked up by Orford. They want 6 more tackles, but won't get it. Now Georgie Rose winding up. He's scored plenty in recent times. He'll play it just outside the 10. Fins Corey Payne away. Lyon kicks for the corner. Some pressure on Tuiaki. Williams batted it back infield. It came off Benji Marshall. And Manly have 6 more tackles. Here's Lyon giving it to Bailey. This could be the game right here for the Tigers. On their own line. Defending a full set of 6 and Perry running at them. Stopped only just by Scandalis. Ballon goes back to the short side. Glenn Stewart on the angle. Good hands. A wild pass tapped on by Orford. They're playing Fiji 7s. Watmo continues the trend. Picked up by George Rose. He tries to wind up once again. And he had his pockets picked by Blake Ashford.
What a game Ashford's had. He's been brilliant with the ball. That's a huge play. Manly on the attack. George Rose thundering forward and Ashford able to rip it out from behind him.
That was very clever because, boy, they were under the pump. Let's take a look at it once again. Here's Jason King first off. He's still getting some attention back on the bench. He won't be back in the next couple of minutes. Scandalis now will play it just outside the 40. Marshall gives it to Farah on the last play. They run it to Ashford, who's had a terrific second half. He'll die with the ball, though. Still trying to get it away, but they'll wrap him up.
Here we are.
That's not the play they wanted at this stage of the game. That isn't the play they wanted. Really, they weren't short out in the left Manly.
And every time they've played long ball, and tried to get on the outside, Manly have just read it so well and so easy. You're playing into their arms. Ashford, he's been terrific. He came up with a one-on-one steal there on Georgie Rose. But Manly, can they respond again? They need Watmo. As much as he's done tonight, they still need a special effort from him with 9.5 to go.
Glenn Stewart giving a ball for Ben Farah to take it inside the Tigers' 40-metre line. 2 tackles left in this set. Jamie Lyon going to the line and gives it off to Glenn Hall, who's had to wait 71 minutes to get a touch. Fresh off the bench, Orford bouncing off tackles, losing the ball. Bryce Gibbs picks it up, and the Tigers continue to hang on.
Gee, that was dangerous, wasn't it, for the West Tigers? Matty Orford was able to skip on the outside of Tim Moulton there and create a 3-on-2. Just fortunate enough that the West Tigers defence went with him and were able to shut down Orford. It was outside Robbie Farah, in fact. And Moulton was the man that moved up, made a half tackle, and then Scandalis from the inside.
It's been a real feature of the game for the Tigers in the first 72 minutes. The fact that their scramble defence has been so good. Their contact at times has been poor, and Manly look as though they're going to slip through. But somehow, some way, they get themselves in a position to complete a tackle.
I think when you play a side like Manly, you're going to expect them to bounce out of a few tackles. They have handled it well off the back of it.
Here's Bo Ryan. Stopped there by Matt Ballon and also Matt Orford. He's doing some vigour in the last few tackles in that set of 6. Here's a kick. Williams, Tony it is, watching it. It will just trickle over the dead ball line. And Manly will bring it back out for a restart at the 20. Toddy Payton about to come back on. Less than 7 minutes remaining. Manly a quick restart, and Stewart was almost away. Again, grabbed by the old Maggie in the black and white, John Scandalis. Matto running, fending, getting away from the fenders. He's still going. He's picked up 35 metres. He'll play at 25 away from the Tigers line. Here's Hall to Orford. He goes across to Jamie Lyon. The Tigers, perhaps, playing for their season. Here's Bailey for Stewart. He goes to Corey Payne. He stopped 10 metres out. 2 tackles left. Lyon with not much happening. Now he links up with Orford. Here's Robertson on the outside of Moulton. He did well. The halfback made a legs tackle. He had to make a tackle. Maddai back to Orford. Grubbering off the uprights. Off the uprights. Straight to the hands of an Englishman.
Well done, Gareth Ellis. The big pads.
He made an important catch. And no, it's not Birmingham on day 5.
Well, the big pads there. The ball ricocheted off them. They knew it was coming. He grabbed it, or got himself in a position. Manly were flat with Orford. They were jamming to the post. And the big Englishman, as he saved the game for the Tigers.
10 seconds, let's go.
See, the field goal's looking good now. The early field goal by Robbie Farah. Just over 5 minutes left in this one. Benji will try and put it as far downfield as possible. Didn't get all of it. 40 out.
And we saw John Morris also just coming onto the field, getting a chance after 74 minutes. A couple of very fresh men on the field late in the game for both sides. There is Morris in the defensive line. Manly have it inside the Tigers 30 as Ballon turns it back to the inside for Watno. He's off again. He's off again. And he's scoring again. What a player Anthony Watno is.
Well, he makes more tackle breaks than any other forward in the game. He's got great leg speed, and he just surges through a hole. And Manly once again drifting across the paddock and turning the ball under.
Watmo, awful. Makes the difference one. Geez, good to watch Anthony Watmo.
Well, what he does, Brent, he gets in between defenders, and before he gets to the line, he surges. Bang! And just through tacklers, under the posts. We speak about Jason King being the most effective go-forward man in the front row for Manly. But certainly Watmo, the most effective go-forward player they have in their team.
That's his 20th run tonight. That is his 20th run with a football tonight. The next nearest Manly player to him is Glenn Stewart, who has been very good in the second half. He's got 11 up his sleeve.
Here's George Rose bringing it back and leaving Tigers in his wake. One of them was Robbie Farah. Ballon to Glenn Stewart. They were backpedaling on that left-hand side of the field. It is all the Sea Eagles in the run to the post. Bailey getting back to his feet, going again, giving it to Jamie Lyon. They are coming home with the wettest of sails. Lyon plays it for Farah. They'll spread it from Hall to Orford. A long ball for Maddai. Good hands up against Moulton. Here's Williams once again. Tony it is. Levelled this time by Danny Galea. But they're just outside the Tigers 40. Orford to Watno, the maroon and white extra set missile. He's gone ballistic again here tonight to get them back into the game. Maddai, Orford, field goal from 33 metres is wide to the right.
I don't know how it looked to Matty Orford. There was plenty of... Oh, it's just right across the face.
No!
No wonder there was a silence in the crowd here. A lot of Tigers up around the broadcast box. Hearts in mouth stuff.
Less than 3 minutes remaining. The Tigers have it. At the wrong end of the field, Lawrence. Tuiaki will wait at dummy half. There won't be too many chances taken by West. The remaining tackles in this possession. Morris is at dummy half. He's as fresh as a daisy. He runs towards the halfway line to be stopped by Ballon, who makes tackle number 44 for the night. Here's Moulton coming across to Danny Galea, getting away from Orford's tackle. Not that though of Anthony Watmo. On the last, kick through Benji Marshall, trying to hook it away from Michael Robertson, who had an air swing. Now he's under pressure. They come, not in time to stop him in the in-goal area, but he's only 8 metres out from his own line.
Well, here we go.
Him 20. That's cost him 20 metres.
It has. With Tony Williams running from dummy half. Is the quick spread onto the right. Whatever they do, they need Watmo involved. He has to find something with a minute and a half to go. He's been their most likely.
Orford, they do go right. Good hands by Glenn Stewart. It was a terrible pass. He picked it up in the one motion. Lyon giving it to David Williams, who comes inside Ben Farah for a run.
Well, they had the numbers, they just didn't have the room.
Inside 90 seconds remaining. A good pass. Lovely ball from Hall to Orford. Watmo replies once again to Orford. Here's Madai. He keeps it alive to Watmo. Watmo again. Don't forget to Ballon. It goes to Ben Farah. The Tigers absolutely desperate. Hanging on by a fingernail. Last play. Orford once again. That's charged down. 6 more for Manly. Robertson has it. 18 metres out in the 80th minute. Glenn Hall showing it is a metre short. An unbelievable finish we have. Ballon gives it to Orford. He showed it to Watmo. He keeps going. He gives it to Williams. The ball goes out and the Tigers win a famous victory.
What about that passage of play there from Manly? Before the 6 to go call, the hands from Matt Orford. On 3 or 4 occasions, how he handled the ball. The balls were coming out the back at speed. Orford did a great job, but they just couldn't get it done there. Does he kick a field goal? That's the first, that's the charge down. Todd Payton gets out in his face. And then Matt Orford decided to go for the try, gets under the tackle, but the pass goes astray.
Some great hands there from Manly and Matty Orford. The hands are in the face. The face is in the hands, I should say.
You're
But
entitled to
Tim
be
Sheens-
excited, don't worry, Loz.
Tim Sheens on the sideline. He's been involved in some big games, Timmy Sheens. Very rarely do I see him react
Call time on when the ball
like that.
goes in. Okay, so stay
He
still.
knows
until
the
it's in.
importance of it. A fantastic comeback from Manly and have failed at the final hurdle. And the Tigers, with 5 seconds to go, have kept their season alive.
Here's Bo Ryan taking it from dummy half. That'll do it. The siren sounds. And the Tigers just might be finals bound in 2009.
This has been a Fox Sports production for the National Rugby League Partnership.
This program brought to you by Bunnings Warehouse, where lowest prices are just the beginning. Harvey Norman, there's a store near you. And TAB Sportsbet. Bet live with TAB Sportsbet.